We now have a bit more insight as to why Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas started taking gifts from billionaires like Harlan Crow. According to a new investigation from ProPublica, Thomas got himself so deeply into debt that he had openly talked about retirement if they weren't going to give him more money. So now, in a private conversation with the GOP congressman, he said one or more justices will leave soon if Congress doesn't pay us more. So, look, when it comes to, hey, you should pay us more, there are arguments in certain places where that makes sense. Like, for example, fast food work. For example, average people. Being a Supreme Court justice, not exactly an average profession. In fact, ProPublica reports that Thomas's salary at the time that he was asking for this was about $173,600. That is equivalent now to $300,000 today. But apparently he was upset that he was not one of the wealthiest members of the court. He was one of the least wealthy members on the court. Now, look, for me, I look at this and I think, I can't imagine not being able to make it on $300,000 salary. How can you not? I mean, again, $300,000. Oh my God, I've never made anywhere close to $300,000 at a year. Okay, I don't understand. How could you be broke? I mean, what are you spending too much on lattes and avocado toast? You might want to stop spending so much on that. Live within your means, right? Isn't that what people like that tell us all the time? Who are, don't make enough to even support the bare minimum that you need. We're always being told, oh, I live within your means, cut this, cut that. There's literally nothing left to cut. But when you're making $300,000 a year, as I'm going to show you, by the way, there's a lot of things on here that he did not have to spend his money on, that he got himself into debt. So, but we'll get into that, okay? But overall, this was a Clarence Thomas spent too much money on things problem, not a don't get paid enough to do my job problem. So that said, according to the New Republic, Thomas's words had sparked a rush of attempts on Capitol Hill to significantly raise justices' salaries, or to at least ensure their pay kept pace with inflation. They wanted to make sure, and these are Republicans that pushed this, that Thomas and Scalia did not leave the bench. So understand that there was a partisan effort here by Republicans to say, oh my God, we've got to pay we got to pay our justices more, or else they're going to leave, and then we're not going to be able to ruin other people's lives. Let's be honest. It's funny though, they can do that. Republicans can rush to ensure that, oh, we can give more money to workers, right? Well, they're elites, essentially. We're going to funnel more money to the elites in our elite institutions, but we're going to make sure to do everything we can to block increases in the pay of average workers. Oh, tying average workers' pay to inflation? Couldn't do that. Hell no. Of course not. That's socialism. Whereas, oh, we're going to give more government money because that they get paid, they're members of the government, the judicial branch. We're going to do actual socialism to pay these people more so that they don't leave. Republicans in favor of socialism since the 1990s. Okay. No, look, it's elites looking out for elites, of course, and not for workers. Now, Thomas, also in searching for more revenue, pushed to end the ban on speaking fees for justices. To no avail, of course. Both the Republican effort to raise salaries at that time and tie them to inflation and lifting the speaking fees didn't go anywhere. When those two avenues failed, Thomas took the only thing that was left to him, which would be to be responsible, cut out spending, get a second job. No, of course not. He didn't. We all know the story. He took money from billionaires. No, not money, but gifts from billionaires, worth lots and lots of money. So the thing that I found most frustrating about this, though, is that while crying poverty, and I alluded to this earlier, he's making big money purchases, including a Corvette and a house in Virginia with 5 acres of land. Wait, hold on. If you're poor, why are you buying the vet? Thomas and his wife bought the house for $522,000 in 1982. They were able to pay $8,000 out of pocket and borrowed the rest, according to property records. The couple also borrowed huge sums of money throughout the next decade, including a consumer loan of $50,000 and a $100,000 line of credit on their house. In 1998, Thomas became his grandnephew's legal guardian, began sending him to expensive private schools. The month before Thomas complained about his salary, he borrowed $267,000 from a friend to buy a luxury RV. Wow. Wow. Borrowing more for a RV than what most people make, not just within a year, but within like 3 or 4 years. In 2001, Thomas ended up taking that RV to get serviced outside of Tampa. While there, he met Earl Dixon, the owner of a Florida pest control company, who ended up giving Thomas $5,000 for his grandnephew's tuition, to which I'm sure he never expected anything in return. Oh no, that's the thing they never tell you. See, the people that are, just lavishing this guy with gifts never expect anything in return. Of course not. How dare you even speculate? Except that that's actually probably what happened. Of course they expect something. You don't, again, you don't do that. You don't give large, gigantic sums of money to people in very, very important positions unless you expect that position to benefit you later on down the line in some way. You're dumb if you don't think that's the case. Or incredibly naive. Look, when it comes down to it, though, yeah, looks like he had a habit of living outside his means. However, by 2019, apparently he was no longer in massive debt. For one, Justice's pay was keeping up with inflation, as I mentioned. In fact, when asked about his salary back in June, Thomas said, "Oh, goodness, I think it's plenty." Oh, my wife and I are doing just fine. We don't live extravagantly, but we're fine. You don't live extravagantly, really? Really, a few weeks later, Crow took the Thomases on a yacht vacation. I mean, yeah, you don't live extravagantly, except that you go on extravagant trips that are gifted to you. Understand, this is the same guy who ruled against student debt relief. Hey, when he was in debt, oh, I need a raise. I should get to charge speaking fees, or I'm going to quit. I gotta quit and go find something else. Oh, but now that he's not in debt, because he's getting spoiled by billionaires, getting all these gifts, he says, "Well, I'm not fine. I'm fine. But if you're in debt, suck it up. Do what I did. What? Take lots of gifts from billionaires? Well, again, taking a government salary. Hey, if you can, great." But to me, it seems like total hypocrisy from a deeply corrupt justice.